Hello, I'm the Milquetoast Pundit, and today we're going to be taking a look at the 2020 elections in North Carolina. If you're wondering about what this visual is, I've spent the last few weeks creating this visualization so I can do some data analysis for election results. So I have the last 5 presidential elections. I calculate things like Democratic relative strength, I look at education levels, I look at a bunch of different stuff. But this map in particular is taking a look at the vote arbitrage from the 2016 election. That is to say, who won how many net votes out of each county. So out of Wake County, Hillary Clinton got 106,654 more votes than Donald Trump last time. And this is a good way of visualizing like where matters, just a type of visceral feel for the state. So when you take a look at the electoral geography of North Carolina, if we take a look at the major counties are Mecklenburg County and Wake County. These are the Charlotte and Raleigh metro areas. These are by far the biggest counties in the state. Then you have Republican suburb counties, as you always do. You have Union County and Cabarrus County outside of Charlotte, and you have Johnston County outside of Wake County. And then you have, in the center of the state, you have some population centers that generally tend to vote Republican. On the western side of the state, Buncombe County is Asheville and is a pretty major Democratic bastion, considering it's not a particularly large city. And in the south, you have Wilmington, which is a fairly Republican-leaning resort town type thing. So, taking a look at this map right here, you can see how the elections are fairly close. And if you take a look at the results in 2016, we see that the results were close. You had only around a 3.6 point spread, with most of that being due to Trump having amazing turnout in rural counties. And when we take a look at the 2018 midterms, we actually see kind of a continuation of that trend. North Carolina is not a state where Republican support for Trump and the Republican Party has eroded very much. And you can take a look a little bit into why this is in this map of education levels. If you take a look at the green counties, those that have higher than average education compared to the state, and you take a look at who wins them, Democrats are already winning most of the well-educated counties in North Carolina, the only exception being New Hanover County. So it's completely possible Democrats are maxed out in the state. That being said, I'm not entirely convinced. So if we take a look at the big counties versus their relative education in the 2016, so this is a graph of the total amount of votes cast on the y-axis and the percentage of the voters who are college educated on the x-axis. We see that there are a few opportunities for to pick up well-educated, large vote total counties for Democrats, specifically Union County and New Hanover County. And the one story out of the 2018 elections that was good for Democrats was the District 9. There was accusations of some sort of impropriety with these elections. And it ended up being that Mark Harris had to be removed, and he was replaced with Bishop, who ended up winning this district by a very slim margin in the do-over. If you look into the crosstabs of those results, you see that in Union County, Democrats were only down a few percentage points. So in Union County, there has been a shift, and Union County is big in terms of the state. It has 105,000 votes. New Hanover County has 111,000 votes. So these are big, swingy potential places for Democrats to make gains. In terms of the rural vote, Trump could be maxed out. And when we take a look at recent polling, we see that Biden is leading a lot of the recent polling that has been done of North Carolina. Cal Cunningham is essentially tied with Tom Tillis Trump and Biden are essentially tied, and the Democratic Governor Roy Cooper is leading by large margins. I believe the minimum that he's been up by in a poll is 9 percentage points. That being said, the demographics still don't look good in terms of Democrats winning the state of North Carolina. Putting that all together, it's my belief that Democrats can win North Carolina with a sufficiently energized black vote. That is the core of the Democratic Party in the South. And I believe that while Democrats are relatively maxed in the suburbs after 2018, and remember in 2018, they only carried 3 of the 13 House seats. And I mean, sure, you can say, okay, District 9 would have gone to Democrats if the Republican hadn't cheated and the makeup election had higher turnout and whatever. But Democrats have not proven that they can hold the state at large in low turnout periods. They need massive amounts of turnout. And I think that they've proven that their suburban strategy in North Carolina might be maxed out. So it comes down to the racial demographics of the state and who turns out in 2020. With coronavirus, that is always uncertain. For the moment, though, I am going to say that I am skeptical of the polling that shows especially Roy Cooper, the Democratic incumbent governor, up 9 points at a minimum. I think that that is insane. I would have North Carolina as being probably the state that will be decided by the closest margin. It is definitely a place where long-term demographic shift away from the Republican Party is occurring, but it is much, much slower than neighboring Georgia or Texas. And as a result, I think that this is a pure toss-up. If Trump's base mobilizes and the Democratic base, especially black voters, doesn't, then Trump will win this. If black voters in North Carolina cobble together a winning coalition with suburban college-educated voters in New Hanover County and Union County, then the Democrat will win the state. Probably Joe Biden. And I believe that the Senate race and the president's race will be decided by basically the exact same margin. In 2016, the Richard Burr ran 0.3 points ahead of Trump. Quite simply, this is a state where partisanship is highly inflexible. It doesn't change very much year to year, and the partisan battle lines are very clearly drawn. The question is, who wins this on a presidential level? And the answer to that is whoever's base gets out there, and who, if Democrats can continue to make gains in those suburbs. So the final rating, I consider the governorship to be just as much of a toss-up as the Senate race and the president's race. For the simple reason that I believe that in this election, there's going to be almost no split ticket voting in North Carolina. It's not a state that is known for it. And while Roy Cooper is a popular incumbent governor, I think that if he is popular enough, he will drag the other Democrats across the finish line. And if the other Democrats don't do well, then they will drag Roy Cooper down with them. So this is a pure toss-up. I could see a tilt or leans categorization for the governor's race if you believe that this hyper-partisan polarization is not going to carry. Either way, I'm the Milquetoast Pundit. Thanks for watching.